today I'm going to be promoting Daryl Hall and John Oates. You're the kiss that's on my list. I can go for that. Tight grooves, great.
Yeah. Middle of the road nonsense.
The way he scrunches up his face. That's what he says.
Welcome to the Guardians of the Vinyl Vault. 4 old friends, 1 sacred vault, and a lineup of artists awaiting judgment.
You listen to Guardians of the Vinyl Vault, a podcast where the guys from the Vinyl Vault radio show don't choose an album, but actually choose an artist that they want to pitch for the vault. And there is 3 statuses that they can pitch for. A platinum stage, which is almost godlike as a band. The club lounge, which is they were good, maybe just not quite brilliant. And then band for life, which is they do not make the criteria. And basically, they are at the back of the queue. They may not ever get in. Now, tonight, or today, I should say, Richard is making his pitch. This is your second pitch of an artist in the vault, isn't it?
I think it's right. I think I've already done Prince.
You did. You got a full house the first time.
Yeah.
So
Will he
Richard,
get it this time?
Richard has the responsibility of pitching. Who, Richard?
Well, this week I'm going for something that I think is a bit more of a challenge for me to persuade and champion. And I'm going for a band that I picked up in the early 80s, and I've liked ever since and stuck with them. So today, Rodney, as the chief of this podcast, I'm going to be talking and promoting Daryl Hall and John Oates. Now, to give you a little bit of a history of Hall and Oates,
a little bit or a lot.
They met actually in 1967. So at a Temple University in Philadelphia, they were in a different bands at the time. Interestingly, Hall was in a soul group, Oates in more of a folky rock band. And it was in a Battle of the Bands competition. And it ended up with a bit of a fisticuffs at the end after the result. But they went and got, they hid in a lift, the 2 of them. And whilst they were hiding from all the aggro, they got talking. And they realized they had a lot of things, more things that they agreed on than not. And they formed a band called Gulliver. They moved to New York. And by the early 70s became Hall and Oates. It wasn't manufactured. It grew out naturally from the Philly music scene. Now, all right, I know, first of all, that some people hear Hall and Oates, like Stephen, instantly think, oh, just throwaway, slick 80s pop and that's it. But I completely disagree. I realized them when I heard Man-Eater in 1982, and I thought that was an amazing song. It reached number 6 in the UK, by the way. But if you actually step back and look at these guys and what they could do, it's obvious they were operating musically on a much higher level than Stephen gives credit for. First of all, Daryl Hall.
Who's going to say operating on a higher level than I am? That's not difficult.
Daryl, I want to point out, first of all, Daryl Hall's voice is the foundation of everything. This isn't just a guy that could sing hooks. He's a genuine soul singer. Apparently his heroes were Marvin Gaye and Smokey Robinson. And I think he's one of those people that if you didn't know he was white when you listened to him on the radio at the time, you would imagine him possibly being a black singer. If you put his voice next to classic R&B singers, it doesn't sound out of place at all. Songs like, I'm going to remind you of some of the amazing songs. She's Gone. That is a brilliant song. Sarah's Smile, classic. Say It Isn't So. Only work because there's control, feel, and restraint. There's nothing flashy going on with his vocals. It's just really good, pure, sweet soul singing. Then there's the musicianship, which people tend to overlook. Hall and Oates were not manufactured. They came up playing clubs, Rodney and Gareth, writing their own material, everybody here, and blending soul, folk, rock, and R&B. Before that crossover was normal. You can hear their musical grounding in songs like Rich Girl, Kiss on My List. You're the kiss that's on my list. You can click your fingers, you can, yeah, I can go for that. and the melodies and the harmonies that they put together. Those tracks sound effortless, but they're built on smart chord choices, tight grooves, and interestingly, we've been talking about production, great arrangements. They also weren't just a studio act. Live, they were solid. A great example of this is Live Aid in 1985. That was a tough environment. We've all discussed this before. Massive stage, global audience, no second takes, and they delivered. Hall's voice was great. The band was tight, and they sang songs like Out of Touch and Man Eater, which went down a storm. That doesn't happen unless musicianship is real. When people questioning their catalog, this is where I always point out to the album H2O. That's one I brought up before in the Vinyl Vault. That album alone shows their range and confidence. Man Eater is all groove and tension. Cracking song. One on one. One on one. Da, 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 da. I mean, it's stripped back and emotional. Family Man leans heavily into R&B. And add to that hits like Private Eyes, You Make My Dreams Come True, Adult Education. You start to see how deep and consistent their output really was. And that's why I'm doing this one tonight. Overall, they had 18 studio albums from 1972 to 2006. 6 number ones in the USA, 16 in the top 10. What's also interesting is Daryl Hall's credibility only grew later on. Now, I know Gareth likes his podcasts and YouTube. Live from Daryl's house is now a hugely popular YouTube and podcast because musicians from all genres want to play with him. He's brilliant live. Howard Stern always has him on the radio. He sings his songs effortlessly, even now. Soul legend, rock artists, indie musicians all turn up to that show because they respect his musical instincts. CeeLo Green, I watched CeeLo Green sing I Can't Go For That with him today.
Not exactly a world-beating artist, but crack on.
That kind of cross-generational respect doesn't happen by accident. And yet it's a shame that the relationship between the two of them has recently, they've fallen out. That clearly had creative and personal differences.
I think that's an understatement, the fallen out.
Yeah, there's legal action. And it's sad considering how great music came from their partnership. But if anything, that just highlights how real the collaboration was. It wasn't manufactured or fake. It was two strong musical personalities creating something special for a long time. I'm just going to finish off by saying, so if people want to dismiss Hall & Oates as just pop, that's fine, but pop at that level is hard. It takes a great singer, great musicianship, and songs that work decades later. Decades. With a catalogue full of tracks like Sarah's Smile, Rich Girl, Man Eater, I Can't Go For That, You Make My Dreams, it's pretty clear this wasn't accidental. Strip away the stereotypes, and what you're left with is a duo who knew exactly what they were doing, and they did it exceptionally well. You don't get songs played for nearly 60 years by accident. You get them by being great.
This is an interesting one for me.
Say that.
No, it is. The way he scrunches up his face. Sorry, he says that.
I mean,
hold on a second.
there's other things that are interesting as well that you wouldn't cross the road to have a look at, would you?
Well, it's an interesting one for me because I first came, although I'd heard Man Eater and She Makes My Dreams, all that type of stuff, I got my soft spot for Daryl Hall and John Oates. No, not the from the singer, from the song "Method of Modern Love."
Yeah,
it wasn't his mustache that gave you the soft spot for him.
Definitely not.
No,
so
lovely
and
mustache.
only then did I investigate them further. But I say soft spot because I never then went and listened to an album. I loved all their singles, Man Eater, and I do agree with you, Richard. It's sampled in R&B and pop so many times. I Can't Go For That, for example, comes up so many times.
Yes.
All those songs, they'll be in absolute 80s all the time, replayed. Every time they come on, I'll stop and listen. And
great voice.
You feel good. Fantastic voice. He's a soul singer,
Oh.
on it. But did I go and lift an album? The answer is no. and I don't know why.
Yeah, but I've brought up this point before with Duran Duran. I've never really thought they've had an absolute corker, absolutely flawless album, but they've had lots of great songs over a long period
But
of
but but
time.
but, but for me, they have Notorious,
Mm.
Rio. All those albums were excellent. The Wedding album I thought was excellent. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm
Mm.
actually wondering why I heard such great songs and why I didn't pick up the album. I think they were very American. They didn't seem to, almost in the UK, the same, whether they didn't come
Gareth's
across.
just completely
No,
alienated all of our Americans.
no.
Thanks, Gareth.
I'm not
However,
saying
Thanks, Gareth.
I
Yeah,
don't I
they're
don't think they
American, so
I
therefore
don't
they're
think they
rubbish.
gave the UK the respect that it should have got.
well, I think they were relying on the time of MTV, so
Yeah.
they knew all their videos were going to get played over here. They did do a Top of the Pops performance. They played live here. But of course, they were massive in America. So
Yeah,
most of our British artists concentrate here, and then they have little
yeah, I
flits.
agree.
And yeah, so
Rodney,
they
Rodney,
didn't
what do you
ignore
reckon?
us. They
Rodney,
didn't
what do you
ignore us.
reckon? Because I'm at the verge of, like, where you were in the middle of ABC concert. I'm on the verge of falling asleep here
Well,
because they do
I,
nothing for me.
Ugh.
But Rodney, what about you?
I don't think Stevens even listened to any of their music.
I've tried my best not to. And unfortunately,
Oh. These are proper
look,
musicians.
I think there's some classic singles from them, so like Family Man or You Make My Dreams or, Man Eater, there's probably half a dozen great singles from them. And,
Sarah's Smile is a beautiful song. It's very Prince-like, actually.
but
you've
Sarah's
had your
Smile.
turn. Rodney, crack on.
I was looking at artists who say, I mean, I go off artists who say they were influenced by them, and apparently Michael Jackson borrowed the groove from "I Can't Go for That" for Billie Jean, for example.
Mm.
Right, okay, and Simply Red recreated the instrumentation from "I Can't Go for That" for their hit "Sunrise." I don't know that
That's
song.
right. I forgot about that.
And then Bruno Mars, Michael Bolton, New Radicals, and they're not a great list, are they? They say they're inspired by them.
The Weeknd, Prince.
I grew up on Hall Notes because my sister used to buy a lot of their 45s, and I used to hear a lot of Hall Notes. And I think what was a bit different about them at the time was that sort of duo working together as a pop act. That wasn't the norm, actually.
Do you think that's what Oates did? Because I was never sure what Oates did, apart from having the second best mustache in 1980s, apart from
Freddie Mercury.
Tom Selleck.
Well, I was going to say your bloke who was the biker in Village People, because that's what it reminded me of. It was a terrific mustache, but apart from that,
you did spend the night with the Village People, I remember.
who I spend the night with the Village People wearing your jumper. That's what it was.
Stephen Moore was a Village person.
But he was
Crossgar or Seinfeld, do you think?
But he was integral in the songwriting. They both wrote the songs together.
I don't know. I'm not.
But he was a guitar player, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he wrote the song. They wrote the songs together.
He was very much Andrew Ridgeley to George Michael.
No, not at all.
I don't think so, Stephen. I think they're more level than that.
What do you base that on? Just
that is part of this legal fallout because they were both integral in the writing of the songs.
Right.
Well,
so Rodney, let Rodney continue on.
No, it's just the songs I sort of grew up with because my sister used to have the 45s in the 80s. And actually, you hear them come up now in ads, for example, and but my criteria for this is you go back to Discovery, their album history, right? And you look at that and you look at the people that they have inspired, and as much as I like them for a few singles, I just don't see them as being in the same league as some of the other artists we've talked about. Not even if you were to put them at the sort of club lounge level. I mean,
quite right, Rodney.
No,
I think
what I like about I listened to a couple of albums in recent days just to get stop.
What, the full album? You
Yeah.
managed
Oh
the
yeah.
full album.
I even
We
listened to
do
that.
that, Stephen. That's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the
Very
premise of
good.
the Vinyl Vault.
And
That's
I listened to an album today
admirable.
that they released in 2003, and it was brilliant. And it just doesn't date.
Why was it? Tell me what. Go on, I'll give you 30
Well,
seconds.
that's
Why
the
was it? No,
album.
let's get the little fella in here. Why was it brilliant? Why was it brilliant?
Because
you can't
his-
just say it was brilliant. Why
because
was
his
it brilliant?
his voice just to me is it's like listen, I'm you again. You don't like Mick Hucknall, but I love the voice. The voice just takes me away. Anyone who can sing like they can, to me, I just think it's such a gift. And Daryl Hall, when you look at those podcasts, and I know you were not prepared for this today, but if you now go back and subsequently watch Daryl's house and or watch some of their videos or live performances, even Live Aid, he can sing
No, he
beautifully.
can't. He can't. But
Is it
what about the
Richard?
tune? Well, so this album you listened to, what was the album called?
Do It for Love,
Do It for Love.
2003.
And it's a mixture of their own songs and
do-
some covers, including the New Radical song from the album that we put into the van.
Richard, do you know where his peak position was in the US chart then?
I don't.
77.
Yeah, because it was at the end of their career. I think they
know,
released
but
it independently.
They never had, I mean, they never had a number one album in the US ever.
Oh, I'm not
You
sure
know?
about that.
Oh, they didn't. If
Well,
you
you've
look
got
at
to
it,
be
it's
sure
still-
about it.
Well, they had 6 number 1 singles in USA.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
yeah, but I
close.
mean, Pete Waterman probably had about 36 number one singles, So right. I'm going in rant mode.
Here we go.
Right.
Here we go. Brace,
Here we go. Brace. It was bland
No,
rubbish. It
absolute
was
garbage.
emotional. Just she's a man eater, right? Well, that doesn't exist for a start. That's a crime. So it's Sarah's smile, right? Well, very good, Sarah. That's lovely, fantastic. Let's move on.
Such a
It was just bland,
Yeah.
middle of the road, American mid-80s nonsense. Could the lad sing? The lad had a beautiful voice. He had that blue-eyed soul voice that was tremendous. It was really good. Do you
The
know
lad,
what
it's very
do you know what they
condescending, the
were?
lad.
It was Michael Bolton with a bloke with a lovely moustache alongside him. That's what it was. There was
You're right, Stephen.
there was no passion. There was no heartwarming message. There was no insight. It was bland, dull music that was designed to get half a dozen hits on American charts, and that's what it did. Well done. You've got a career, but you're dull. No can do, as they would say.
Well, that's rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
a couple of the points that he takes out. Truth, they were more singles based. I don't remember any of their albums. I couldn't tell you what they're called. Nothing.
H2O was their biggest album.
H2O. What? How more bland an album name could you get? Water. Yeah, that's great. That inspires me. Water. No taste.
Do you see
There
what
is
he's missed the obvious reason why they did that?
go
Hall
on,
Oates.
He did.
H2O.
well, that's inspiring.
H2O, the only album, it only reached number one in Canada. It reached the high of number 3 in the US.
Gareth's alienated the Americans.
How many
You've
Grammys?
alienated the Canadians.
Rodney, I bet there was loads of Grammys.
It's no, I don't know about that. I can't
The
see.
stats I have say 6 US number one singles, 16 US top 10 hits. It does not. The stats I cannot find anywhere telling me about their albums.
No, so Gareth, the top selling album was that one in H2O 1982. It peaked at number 3 in America, number 1 in Canada, and that was
UK.
it. And in the UK, actually, it doesn't even say in the UK. Oh, UK, yes, sorry. It peaked at number 24 in the UK.
Yeah, but it had a lot of competition back then.
Did they fill out stadiums?
Yes.
You like the stadium
I
stat,
do like
don't
the
you,
stadium
Gareth?
stat. I
And they
do. So,
performed admirably at Live Aid, unlike Led Zeppelin.
yeah.
Oh, he's harking back
No, we're just some people were hit and miss, and Daryl Hall and John Oates were one of the people mentioned that really pulled it off in the Philadelphia concert.
It's a tough one. I have a soft spot, but only because of their singles.
Yeah,
I will go and listen to that album. Hopefully I find it. But
the voice is just
voice
superb.
excellent, but you can have a great voice, but you gotta be able to sing a tune.
If
Oh, they've
Daryl,
got plenty. You'll when you go back now, and I know you're expecting the boss, but you'll be surprised how many songs you know when you listen to stuff.
he told us not to raise
Aye.
I'm trying to not say cock up, but it was a cock
Yeah.
up.
It
Because he
wasn't.
told us he was going to do Bruce Springsteen. Oh, the look of excitement on me, Gareth, and Rodney's face.
Yeah.
Only to find out, literally seconds before we pressed record, that he wasn't doing Bruce Springsteen. He was doing Daryl Hall and John Oates. Oh,
Because it was described as a safe
it just
another
drew
no
drew the air out of the room.
another
The
safe
level of
another
excitement. It just
my fingers coming
went.
out, another safe option it was described. And I thought, well, no, I'm going to challenge myself.
Yeah, by
Challenge
choosing Daryl Hall and John Oates.
and
Yeah.
challenge the group. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to start off by recommending it goes into not platinum, but it goes into club lounge. That's where I'm putting it.
Yeah. I am going to go. I like back to you're in the queue.
Oh,
I might let you in.
Oh, you can't put him beside Martin Fry. It is
of course you can.
Yeah.
Ooh,
not-
they
I mean,
would
I
actually
did
get
like
on
their
quite
songs.
well.
I like their songs. Now, I have to put one in the C queue and one in the D queue because they can't stand beside each other. All notes. Steve,
So
what are you going?
you're putting them outside in the queue.
Yeah, they're not getting
Oh,
in.
God,
Sorry.
I've had it now then.
Stephen?
I tell you, why are you even asking me?
Yeah,
Well,
don't
I'll
ask
tell you
him.
what, you did ask me.
Rodney, don't ask him. We know where.
It's, if this even sniffs the vinyl vault, if this even gets halfway up the queue, it's a travesty.
Yeah.
Gareth has told us time and time again that these artists have to be of a certain stature, they have to be of a certain just they have to have something about they've got nothing. He can sing. Rodney can sing. He's not getting into the vinyl vault.
This is someone,
It's
guys. It's obviously
appallingly middle of the road,
no.
bland, soft rock
He will.
nonsense.
What I find offensive with Stephen's retort is that he hasn't even listened to the music. As we know, he doesn't listen
No.
to the music.
To be fair, you're right.
And even
Well-
if he had had time to prepare,
But
he still
here's
wouldn't have
the
listened to
thing,
the
though.
music.
But here's the thing. I know enough about them not to offend myself by listening to any of their absolute rubbish.
By the way, and also he doesn't listen to the music. He's more into the personality behind if they're making sweeping political statements.
Yeah.
A wee bit left. He loves obviously.
I was so looking forward to Bruce Springsteen. Do you know what? I tell you what, they would have never got in anyway, Richard. There's no way Hall & Oates would have got in. But you've ruined my night. You've ruined. Sorry, Rodney, I'm going to do it again. You've ruined Christmas. That's what you've done. You've
Gareth,
ruined
you
Christmas
know, I've also
by not giving me the opportunity to eulogize about Bruce Springsteen.
if you look
and
at-
instead, I've got to spend half an hour here trying to pretend that I've listened to Hall & Oates. There's no way I'm going to ruin.
Gareth, if you watch
the
the videos and Live Aid in particular, I think what Stephen's got here is a bit of Daryl Hall hair envy.
Yeah.
Because he had tremendous hair, and he still
did
has.
As we've already established, I am the only one that has non-grey hair, and I think I don't know what Daryl Hall looks like today. And I also John Oates. I have never gone so far as to grow a mustache. But you're absolutely
the
right.
interesting thing, I know
completely
you say
envious.
about the grey hair on YouTube. we all look as if we don't have grey hair. Like Rodney's sporting a lovely
Well,
red, gingery look.
I think this is a very good time to say that this podcast episode has been sponsored by Grecian 2000.
Grecian 2000, that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
The only hair product that men should use. Stephen, you would agree with that, wouldn't you?
Rodney,
For men in their autumn years, if you want to look like us.
Rodney, before you give your, which I think I know what's coming, can I also just remind you of their musical ability, their songwriting? They've been making great songs for 60 years. They've been together that long. The music still gets played on the radio, streaming. I would imagine they write and perform. Brilliant voice. Come on, join me in the club lounge.
He's sounding like, do you remember Little Britain with Dennis Smotherman? Wrote the theme tune, sung the theme tune.
He's got away. He sounds like Oliver. Please give me in.
Well, look, I have a soft spot for Darrell Hall and John Oates because I used to hear this stuff in the 80s. My sister used to buy the singles, and there is something iconic about them and their sound in the 1980s. But unfortunately, you look at their overall chart history, you look at the impact, and it just doesn't match where we've been with other artists. And interestingly, I've done a little sort of a little AI check, and apparently they are the most successful duo in music history, not fact checked, and they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2014. But if I look at their album history and that, I think I'm sorry, Band for Life is where I'm putting them. I'm sorry.
Listen, guys, I can't go for that. I can't go for that.
No can do.
Here he goes. You missed it. You missed that.
You missed the trick.
You haven't made Richard's dreams come true.
Come true. Oh.
Yeah. Well, the kiss was on my lips, but she's gone. She's gone.
She's gone. They've gone.
But you know, you
Gareth, I mean, I will give him a final decision, but I don't think it's going to be any surprise. Gareth, what are you going for?
No, he's already put them outside.
Are you gone? Well,
Gareth, he wasn't even listening. No. He wasn't even listening to you.
I don't find that hearing other people's opinions really is that important.
Stephen, can I ask, what is your method of modern love?
My method of modern love.
Method of modern love.
I don't know. I don't think I needed a method after. Have you had 38?
Have you had many rich girls with private eyes?
No,
right. See, what you're doing is this is great because you're reeling off all the great songs. It's brilliant.
And they were all in a short period of time.
Private Eyes, what a great song! You listen to that, guys, afterwards. Private Eyes.
I'm watching you. I'm going to play it tomorrow on the radio. But you are such a family man, and you sometimes say it isn't so. But and despite you making my dreams, unfortunately, they are where they are, and Hall & Oates have gone. They're in the band for life. I think Hall & Oates should join with ABC maybe and just have their own little side club. I think they would go very well together.
A shed.
Yeah.
With a shed. Well, maybe.
I admire Richard for one thing and one thing only, and that's having the faith in his conviction for going for it, and hats off to him for that. Unfortunately, his conviction was completely ill-founded, and I'm glad it's over.
Well, Stephen, I can go for that. That is another episode of Guardians of the Final Vault. Unfortunately, for any fans of Hall & Oates, didn't quite make the grades. Listen out for more episodes of the Guardians of the Final Vault. You've been listening to Richard Hall Oates, Irvine, Stevie Moore, and Gareth Neal. I've been Rod Maxwell. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.